Do you want to know how to apply your art like patterns to mockups and turn this into this? Check out my SkillShare class. The link to the class is in the description below. My class is called Lifestyle Mockups to Sell Art and Get Design Work. My name is Carrie Cantwell. I'm an illustrator, surface designer, and educator. I am a Skillshare top teacher. This is just one of my classes that I teach on Skillshare. I also teach a class on patterns, how to create patterns. I teach one on spoonflower, and I also have one on signature style. This class is all about lifestyle mockups to sell your art and help you get design work. My class comes with a beautiful free lifestyle mockup, and in this photo, you can change multiple things like patterns on multiple surfaces. You can put an art print in there, and you can even adjust the colors of things like the plant stand and the lamp. My class also comes with a free bundle that has 2 more free lifestyle mockups. It also has a handy list of which mockups work best for specific art styles and industries, and resources to help you find even more mockups. The mockup that we're going to be working with in this tutorial video is part of my free class bundle. Welcome to my tutorial on how to use this super cool mockup, which is available through my class on Skillshare. It's part of my bonus bundle. So this is what the mockup looks like. And I have this file open in Adobe Photoshop right now. Now, when you first open this file, you're going to see this big black screen that says delete this layer to use the file. Very, very straightforward. So here's the way mockups work. Mockups are basically a way for you to apply your art to a photo, and you do that through the layers panel in Adobe Photoshop. So first of all, first things first, here we are in Photoshop. I'm using the latest version. If you don't see your layers panel, all you have to do is go up to your window menu and then go down to where it says layers. So mine has a checkbox next to it because my layers are showing. If yours doesn't, you just click on that and then your layers panel will show. So mine is over here, and that is your navigation tool for how you are going to be using these mockups, all mockups in Photoshop. So I'm going to follow the super simple instructions and delete this layer to begin with. So I'm just going to click on the layer and hit the trash can, and now we can see our beautiful photo mockup. So this mockup is super cool because you can apply art or a pattern to it. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to apply 2 different patterns that are part of my mini collection to this mockup. So you heard me earlier mention that your layers are your navigation. So that's where we're going to go. We're going to go look over here in our layers panel and start looking at what everything is named. So they should be named what they are, and this is one reason I love Createsy. Createsy is really good at being professional and layering things correctly, and also naming their layers in very easy to understand ways. So you can just figure out what you need to do from each layer. So it's pretty self-explanatory. So here we have a layer that says design swimsuit. Well, I bet you can figure out what that's for. That's going to be for the pattern on her swimsuit, right? So let me show you something. I have 3 pattern blocks. That would be this one, which is my retro roller skates. I have a plaid pattern block, and then I also have an ice cream one called Ice Cream. These are all part of my summertime mini collection called Sweet Summer. I created these using my half drop method in Adobe Illustrator. And I teach a class all about that in SkillShare, and that will be linked below. You can find it through my SkillShare profile. So if you don't have any patterns to apply and you take that class, you will. So I'm going to be using my patterns for this tutorial, so you can follow along with me. You don't have to use a pattern. You could use art, or you can, of course, use any pattern you want. So the first thing that we want to do is tell Adobe Illustrator that this seamless pattern block, and when I say seamless, I mean this will tile infinitely. This needs to be defined in the Illustrator menu, the Photoshop menu, as a repeatable pattern that you can apply to different things. So the way you do that is with your file open, your pattern block, you go to Edit, and then you just go down to halfway here and you click on Define Pattern. And that's it. So I'm going to click on that, and I actually already have this defined, but I'm going to show you. So you're going to get this pop-up that says pattern name, and it's asking you what you want to name it. You can completely ignore this name. Don't worry about it. What you do want to do though is click OK, because what you're doing is then putting it in your pattern library. My pattern library is showing up over here. You don't need to have yours showing, it will, if you click that OK button, it will show up and you're not going to need to access it again. This is just here for reference. So now I'm going to go back to this photo and we're going to apply that pattern to this swimsuit. This is the ice cream pattern. I think it's super fun. So there's really easy way to do it is we are going to be clicking right here in this little box on the left, to the left of the words design swimsuit, to the left of the lock, and that is your smart object thumbnail. And that's where we're going to click inside that box. You don't want to click inside this little gray area over here in the main layer, because watch what happens when I do that. I'm double clicking on it. I'm getting my layer style. So you're getting like blending modes, and you don't want to do that. There are sometimes ways you can use the pattern overlay, but we don't need to do that. That's a more roundabout way to do it. So I'm just going to click cancel, and then I'm going to go double click inside this little smart object thumbnail. And now that I have clicked on that, I am in a separate file with a grid. Now you'll notice, you see this grid here and you see the grid on her swimsuit? Those are correlating. That is the sample design. Anytime you see a grid in a mock-up, usually that means that that is an editable field. So you can kind of look at an image and tell what you can change and what you can't. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm actually going to create a new pattern fill layer by going up to the layer menu, and then I'm going to drop down to new fill layer, and then I'm going to go to the third option, which is pattern. And then you'll get this pop-up box that says new layer. You can just click OK. You don't need to change anything or worry about it right now. Just click OK. And now this is populating my pattern with an old pattern of mine. So let me show you in my menu. You might notice that right there looks like this. These are all my patterns. These are all patterns that I've defined over, the last few times I've been using Photoshop. So that's not the one we want, but that's okay. If you've been defining a lot of patterns, you're going to get the first one that you created just by default. It doesn't show the last one. So that's okay. The easy way to fix that is in the pattern fill pop-up box, right here to the right of this little thumbnail, you see this little down arrow? That is so you can open your pattern picker. So click on that. And then we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom. See, these are the same as these here. We're going to scroll all the way to the bottom, and you can kind of see a little thumbnail, but it also is going to give you a little pop-up showing the file name if that's helpful. Just click on that and voila, there is our pattern. Now I'm going to click outside of this little pop-up right here by clicking in the other pop-up anywhere. And now you can see that this space is being filled with our pattern, but it is huge, way, way, way too big. So you're going to want to scale it down. That's because my pattern block is big. And you scale it by selecting this 100%, this 100 in here. You can highlight it and then just type a number. So I just typed in 20%. That looks good. And that's it. You're going to click on OK. And now I am going to hit Command S, which is save, or you can go to File, Save. And that is Command S on my Mac. If you're on a PC, it would be Control S for save. And now I'm going to close this. You can either go to File, Close, or you can hit Command or Control W and check it out. There is our ice cream pattern on this swimsuit. How fun is that? I love it. It's so great for summer. So now this mock-up, you can actually change other parts of the swimsuit too, but I'm not going to do that in this tutorial because really this swimsuit is one piece and you're not going to want to bother with that. Some mock-ups you can change, like for instance, specific sofa cushions. So let me show you another thing that's important. If you're in your layers panel, you might notice usually above or below the design layer, see how where it says right here, color swimsuit on the right? What that means is, and I'll hide this, if you didn't want to put a pattern on the swimsuit and you only wanted to put a pattern on this towel, you could hide all these layers. See right now you see those little straps? You can adjust each strap if you want to. I'm not going to do that. But if you wanted to, you could hide all these layers by clicking on the eyeball. And then if you double click right here where it says solid color fill layer, you can actually enter a hex code, or you can pick a color, whatever you want to do. I'm not going to do that. I am going to, and you can just leave that layer there for now. It's there for you in the future if you decide you want to do a solid color swimsuit. A good example for that would be if your towel is like super busy, like a super busy pattern, maybe you want her wearing a solid color that matches the pattern on her swimsuit, right? Because you don't want them to clash, you don't want them to be competing, or the image to be too busy, because then your design will just get lost. So I'm just going to ignore that for now. And now we have one other option, one other thing we can change in this mock-up, and that's our towel. And we know that because it has a grid on it. So we're going to do it the same way. You're not going to click here. You're going to double click inside the Smart Object thumbnail. But before we do that, let's go ahead and define another pattern. So I have my retro roller skates and I have my plaid pattern. I'm going to try both of them. I'll bet you this is going to be too busy up against that ice cream pattern, but maybe not. And really, you know, the only way to find out is to try it. So I'm going to do what I did before with my seamless pattern block open. I'm going to go to edit, and then I'm going to go down to define pattern. I'm going to click OK, and then there it is. And I actually did this before, but you can see it right there. And I'm going to leave these open, by the way. I am not closing these files because I'm going to sample these colors possibly. So let's go back. And now we have our retro roller skates in our pattern library. Let's scroll down to where it says design towel. How straightforward is that? Again, double click inside the Smart Object thumbnail. And here is our grid. And what we want to do is we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to go to layer, and then we're going to go down to new fill layer. And then you're going to choose the third option that says pattern. You're going to click OK, and then recognize this. Yeah, that's okay. So you just go straight here to this little arrow to the right of the thumbnail, and it's going to be at the very bottom. There's a little scroll bar here. You can click on that and then click outside of it. Now again, way too big. No worries. Go to the scale, and I'm going to try 20%. Let's do a little bigger. Let's do bigger than that. Okay, let's try that. You know, a lot of what you end up doing with mockups is just kind of trying stuff and seeing how it looks. So let's click OK, and then I'm going to hit Command S for save, and I'm going to hit Command W for close. And there is our roller skate pattern. Now, to me, that looks a little busy. I kind of knew it would. So I could either apply the roller skates to the swimsuit and then maybe do something else here. But what I'm going to try is I happen to have another pattern in my mini collection. It's just 3 patterns. But I happen to have this plaid pattern, which kind of makes sense for a towel, right? It's almost like a summer gingham. So I'm going to do the same thing with this open. Again, this is a different shape, but it's still a seamless pattern block. This is not a half drop. It's just a basic repeat. You're going to go to Edit, and then you're going to go down to Define Pattern. Same thing. Click OK. There it is in our menu, and there it was from before. Now I'm not going to close it. I'm going to go back over here in my tabs to this mockup, and I'm just going to, I want to change it. So right now we have the roller skates. All you have to do to change it is just go do the same thing again. Double click in here in your smart object thumbnail. And here's something that's really cool. You don't have to define it again as a pattern if you already have your little pattern fill layer. All you have to do is double click in your pattern fill layer box here. So watch what happens when we do that. I'm double clicking, and now we got our pattern fill back. Click in the little arrow here, and there it is on the bottom. So we actually saved a step by doing that. And yeah, 35% looks okay to me. I'm gonna click OK. I'm gonna hit Command S for save, and then I'm gonna hit Command W for close. That is so much better. So much better. See how it just kind of, it's like a soft grouping of colors, and it just kind of blends better. Now there is one more option in here that you may have noticed where it says, oh, and here, do you see where it says color towel? You can do the same thing we did with the swimsuit. So if you hid this, you could change the towel by double clicking here to another color. I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to leave this design where it is by clicking the eyeball, but we can adjust the towel border color. See how this is like kind of a bright white, and my pattern has like an off-white in it? Well, you could either do an off-white, or I think I'm going to do a red, because this red will really, I think, bring the red out of the ice cream. And also we have a lot of blue in here. So I want to kind of try to make that red pop. So this is why I leave my patterns open. So I'm actually going to sample this bright red here. I think that would be fun. And let me give you a tip. Don't go, if you're used to using the eyedropper tool and sampling, don't do it from this image, and here's why. This photo has all kinds of effects applied to it, like shadows and stuff. And so you don't know if you're really going to get the true, real red from your pattern if you sample from here, which is why I always leave my files open, my pattern blocks open while I'm doing this. So here we are. This is our real, true red. I'm going to use the eyedropper tool in my menu here, and I'm just going to eyedropper that red. And now you'll see it's over here in my foreground color. And if you pop back over, the foreground color is still there. So you don't have to mess with, trying to remember any hex codes. And now for the color of the towel, kind of like we were doing earlier. Oh, not the color of the towel, excuse me. For the border, that is the color of the towel border here. See this layer right here? It says color towel border. That's what we want. Don't click color towel because you won't see it. But what we will want to do is double click inside the solid color fill layer. And there we have, right now it's white, right? So all you have to do is, we're in our eyedropper, but you can also just select this. I'm going to eyedropper that red. And if you need to know it, that's your hex code. And there it is. I'm going to click OK. So now we have a super cool summer mock-up with 2 patterns from a mini collection and a nice coordinating little red there. And I think this looks fantastic. This is a great piece to put in your portfolio so you can market your patterns to clients. Don't forget, if you want to grab the file I used in this tutorial, the main file with all of the beautiful imagery that you can change, and another additional mock-up, don't forget to visit my Skillshare class and watch it. It's called Lifestyle Mockups to Sell Art and Get Design Work. The link to the class is available in the description below. If you click the link, it will take you to my Skillshare profile where you can find all of my Skillshare classes, including this one. If you liked this video and you want to see more tutorials from me and you want to be notified when I publish new videos, please make sure to click subscribe below. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!